Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Small Engine Velocity. And today we are going to do a long-term review on the 14-inch Dorby Works GY6 stretch kit, or also called the stance kit for the Honda Ruckus. I got this in about 2020, around the pandemic, also with some wheels. I liked the look of it, and I've had it for a while now, and I thought maybe I should be able to give everybody some feedback on how this mount works. Keep in mind that what I'm about to show you or talk about is all my opinion about this mount, and none of it should be taken as a fact and more of opinion. Anyways, before we get to that, let's go ahead and roll that intro. All right, let's go ahead and go over what to expect from this video. We're gonna go over the construction and the materials used for this mount. We're gonna go over the cost of this mount. We're gonna go and do it a little bit backwards, gonna do the cons, and then we're gonna move over to the pros of this mount. Then we'll add a little bit in the middle with my current situation with the mount. And then at the very end, where I think everyone wants to be at on this video is who is it for and who is it not for? All right, so this is a mount. It is not billet aluminum like the one that you get from the ruck shop. It is steel. It is powder coated and it is welded together. There are parts of it that looks like where the main part of the motor hangs off of is 1/4-inch steel, and everything else looks like 3/16 steel across it. It is incredibly solid. You could throw it at someone and probably injure them, or you will injure them. Make note that this is an offset mount, and when I say offset mount, I mean where the motor hangs isn't directly below the frame. It hangs and then there's an offset across, and then it puts it onto the motor. This is to get the further stretch, and also to keep the angle correct, and also to raise the motor a little higher and still get that extra stretch and stance from this kit. So I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I paid something for it, obviously. I bought it with wheels, so I don't remember how much it was separately. But right now, as of the making of this video, I checked online and it is $400. And that's $400 for just the mount. You can also add options for longer throttle, longer brake cables, and there's other options that you could put on there to go with the kit if you're building a fresh new Ruckus. Now keep in mind, you may need these cables because this is a 14-inch stretch and it is much longer than a normal stretch kit that you'll buy for your Honda Ruckus. So the way I want to do this is I want to go over the cons first, because I like to end with the positive. So the way the mount is set up, it is a very long stretch and it is stanced wonderfully. The engine height off the ground is good, so you won't hit anything when you drive over it. The flaw in that design is nothing with the mount, but with the way the Ruckus is built. The front frame has a curve below it so that you can put the gas tank in to protect it on the bottom, and that part is too low. If you look, it's about 3 fingers, so it's about 2 inches at most, and that's with me not sitting on it, so it's really low. If that's what you want, then hey, more power to you. When I got it, I didn't realize that I tried to use my old stock, my rear shock, and I realized that this kit only works with the low-down shock on the back, the really short one. And then in lies the next problem. Because it's using that little tiny shock, the ride is incredibly stiff. It still rebounds. It's no problem with rebounding. It's just, it's so stiff whenever going over stuff. Generally, most people aren't real concerned with the smoothness of the ride more than what the look looks like on your actual Honda Ruckus. With that stiffness, you also have problems with the roads that you can ride on. One of the things is, now that it's a 14-inch stretch, it's like almost 6 feet from end to end. I think it's more than 6 feet end to end, somewhere around 6 feet. And whenever you go over little bumps or something like that, because the middle is only like 2 or 3 inches above the ground, I ground out all the time. There's only so many times you can hit that front frame piece on the ground before enough scratches to happen on there to make it not structurally sound. So that's something I'm gonna have to work out, how to protect that part, or I don't know, we'll see. Now to the part that I like to talk about. It is the pros of this mount. One of the biggest pros for this mount, and the reason that I bought it, is that it's a 14-inch stretch. When you look at the back of the bike after you put the stretch in, the wheel is like almost level with the rear frame, just around the seat. So it's like a straight flat. The way it looks, the way it stands, the way it sits, it just looks amazing the way it sits on there. And that's the reason why I got this mount to begin with, is because I loved that kind of look. Also, that it's also longer, but I think it needs to be longer to fit that wheel over in that position. I said earlier that it's made of steel. It is not billet aluminum, but it is made of steel and it is welded together. Little known fact that steel is a little bit more flexible when it comes to aluminum or billet aluminum, kind of like on a steel bicycle. It absorbs more shock, or it absorbs more vibration as you ride versus billet. I'm pretty sure on a Ruckus you're not going to notice very much, but the construction on this is absolutely amazing. It's the toughest stuff. You could throw it at someone and probably injure them. Built. So when Dorby had this designed and made, he really thought through on the quality. It is a little heavy, but it's okay. You're putting on a GY6. An extra ½ pound or so isn't gonna really cause you very much pain when you're trying to build this Ruckus. And the last part is, because it's a 14-inch stretch and because of the design, it sits the motor higher. That offset motor mount stand part in the center, because it's offset to the back, it pushes a little further back. You don't have to tilt the angle of the motor so hard to be able to get that stretch and that lowness. It creates a large space underneath the motor for you to not hit stuff. I know a lot of people worry about when they stretch their Ruckus and they drop it too low, that, you know, because the motor pivots on that motor mount, it's gonna swing down and hit something. In this, it's not the problem. But like I said before, that's not the main problem of things that you want to worry about hitting. So where am I now? I ran into a problem with this mount. One of the stainless steel bolts that hook up to the clamp on top of the Ruckus frame, the bolt snapped, and I guess when it snapped, it loosened the threads on the other one and eventually fell off. I discovered this in the last motovlog video I did. I was taking pictures of the back of the bike and the wheel looked incredibly crooked, like obviously crooked. So I looked and it was missing, and I'm super lucky that it didn't fall apart on me or bend or crack or do something to me while I was riding. Because you know that single-sided swing arm, if you put too much weight on one side, you might flex that cast aluminum and break it. So I'm glad that I made it home safe. What I need to do is I need to contact Dorby and ask him if he can find, or if he has spares of that top clamp that goes over the bar, and and then what I'll do after that is replace the stainless steel bolts with something that's maybe like a 10.1 grade bolt that's, you know, got a lot more strength behind it. I have no idea why it broke, but it broke. I must have hit something or bounced off of something, or maybe it was just installation error when I first did this, so I'm not really 100% sure, but the fact is it's broken. So I can tell you now, who is this not for is the daily rider, like a commuter or something. If it's this low for you, it's probably gonna be about this low for you, depending on what tire size you use and what front shock you use. It's definitely not a daily rider. It's more of a show. It's more of a prized possession bike, like something you take out to show off to all your friends and be like, look at me, I'm super cool, look at that, you know, type of thing. If you're looking for comfort, this is also not the mount for you, as stated previously and many other things I just said inside of this video. Who is this for? This is for people who want to have the coolest Ruckus on the block with the coolest stance. Show bikes, people who like to win, go bring them to bike and car shows and win awards for having something super original, because obviously, you know, Ruckuses aren't that popular out there, so when people see one, they lose their minds. If you own a Ruckus and you're watching this video, you know, even a stock Ruckus, people, their minds go blow up. And of course, this is also good for people who have good roads all around them, nice and flat, like if you live in Florida or somewhere. Definitely not if you live in Michigan. I heard they have the worst roads in the United States with giant potholes and wrinkles in the road. Maybe Wisconsin, I heard, had some bad roads too. So yeah, take that with a grain of salt. So in conclusion, I'm going to fix this mount. I like the mount. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it. I may go with a billet mount. I've never had one of the aluminum billet mounts too, so I may sell this and buy one of those, or trade it perhaps. So yeah, stay tuned to see what I'm gonna do with this, but I hope you at least got some positive information out of this video about the mount, and maybe it'll help you make a decision in the future. Anyways, good luck building your Ruckus, and I will see you in the next video.